Welcome to Smash Fiction, a podcast where we pit fictional characters against one another in a battle of strength, or wits, or when it's like winter and you're walking across the carpet with your socks on and then you touch the doorknob and you're like, ow! Frick! I fucking hate that. And see who would win. This week, Storm versus Sailor Jupiter versus Raiden versus Pikachu. It's the lightning match. Editor, please insert lightning round sound effect here.
The fact that you thought I wasn't going to do that is kind of insulting.
You're cold. No, the floor you're lying on is cold. Why are you lying on the floor? Your eyes snap open. You're definitely on the floor. The floor is metal. Steel, maybe? You push yourself up and look around. The first thing you notice that you can't help but notice is that you're in some kind of large dome cage. It's really large. Who made this? You can't see outside of it due to the roiling gray and black clouds that distantly murmur with thunder and threats of lightning. Looking back down and around, you notice other people. There's a woman laying on the floor. She looks unconscious. Her long white hair is strewn around her head, but it somehow still looks fabulous. You step closer to investigate. Oh, her hair may be white, but she's not old. Maybe early 30s? She's wearing a uniform or costume, shining black with gold trim and a huge cape. Storm? Was that what she called herself? She said she was an X-Man, whatever that meant. Your eyes travel farther across the dome and land on another unconscious woman. A girl? She looks much younger than Storm, but she's also dressed in what looks like a costume, a green and white outfit that kind of reminds you of that sailor aesthetic of Japanese schoolgirl uniforms. Sailor Jupiter. Yeah, you're pretty sure that was her name. Her brown hair is still held up in a ponytail even after the fight. Oh, you were all fighting. Why were you fighting? Your eyes scan the dome again, but this time in the hopes of remembering more. They land on a man now. There's a conical bamboo hat right next to his head, still in one piece. Pretty tough hat. The rest of his white and blue clothing came out pretty unscathed, too. It's got a definite martial arts vibe. Raiden? Is that how his name is pronounced? Impossible to know for sure. So far, everyone here looks so different from one another. Why are you all here? You definitely all fought, but what? Oh crap, that bamboo hat just moved? Oh yeah, it's definitely moving. And now it's not moving. Yeah, you're gonna flip it over. There's a yellow rat? Giant mouse? Something.
Your guess is as good as mine.
It's a yellow animal with long pointed ears and a tail that zigs and zags like a cartoon lightning bolt. Its rosy cheeks rise and fall with its labored breaths. Oh no. Did you do this? You feel so bad. You reach down to pick up this Pikachu. The memories, they shoot through your mind with the speed and violence of lightning, and you remember. You remember your name. Capune. David Capune. You remember appearing here in this Thunderdome. At the whim of a being made of pure electricity that had somehow managed to get control of the Reality Stone. The Infinity Stone that allows the wielder to shape reality as they see fit, so long as they have the imagination and the willpower to control it properly. He demanded that you all fight to prove which of you is the superior wielder of electricity. None of you wanted to fight, you remember that, but there was no leaving until you did. Everything about the Thunderdome resisted your attacks, so you all eventually decided to play along. You remember staying out of the fight as much as you could until finally only one of your reluctant opponents remained. Who was that last one standing? Who was the last one standing? I, Kit Mulcairn, am the narrator of this weird second-person story, as well as the judge of this electric match. Consider this part 3 of our series of elemental battles. Make sure to stay inside and don't touch anything metal while listening to this episode.
Are each of the opening arguments here like the chapters in Rashomon, where we're like...
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
All right, cool, I like it.
And just to clarify before this match begins, we will be using Storm at her most current in the comics, Sailor Jupiter from the 90s anime, Raiden at his most current, and Pikachu from the anime without Ash, but fighting so he can get back to his best friend. Advocating for Storm is Dan Mulcairn.
Do you know what happens to bullshit when it is struck by lightning?
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Dan loses.
Advocating for Sailor Jupiter is Claire Mulcairn.
Smash Fiction intros are a sacred tradition. Doing a mysterious, confusing cold open in second person is unforgivable. In the name of Jupiter, I shall pun at you.
Oh.
Yay!
Advocating for Raiden is Miles Schneiderman.
You're all great podcasters, but I have looked into your souls. One of you will determine if this is a quality episode or not. The fate of hundreds depends upon you. Sorry.
And advocating for Pikachu is Megan Bob.
All right, I'm a little sick, but I'm gonna give it a try. Pikachu!
That
that does not
sounded
feel good.
draining.
All right, no,
That
I'm
sounded
fine.
rough.
That was beautiful. It's perfect. Clearly, your voice is back.
That's Pikachu after several years of hard living.
Your memories are so hazy. Who was it that attacked first? Pikachu? Really? Well, you guess it does come from a world where animal fighting is not only the norm, but an expected career for 10-year-olds. All right, and then... Oh, yeah, it was Storm. Yeah, that checks out. Storm wouldn't take shit from an electric rat. And then, Raiden! Yeah, Storm's wind blew his hat off and he just lost it. Don't fuck with the god's hat. That's what Mom used to say. After Dad was killed for fucking with the god's hat. And that means Sailor Jupiter went last. You remember her trying to keep everyone from fighting until Raiden finally attacked Storm, and then Jupiter started yelling about how men shouldn't throw lightning bolts at ladies, and it all went downhill from there. But at least they didn't notice you until the end. The end. Who was the last one standing? Was it Pikachu?
You probably think that Pikachu is the Peter Lowe of this match. The dead and loving it Dracula. The Hannah Montana. To that I say, nuh-uh. Pokemon's nonsensical adults and drifter children aside, it's a world of animals bred and raised to win fights. I can already hear the narrator voiceover. Miles, Dan, and Claire have been preparing for this fight because how the hell is this cheddar cube with a face going to win? Well, shut up, omniscient narrator! What you should be asking is how the hell can Pikachu lose? He's been in more tournaments than all of you combined. Everyone in this fight is going to be flinging lightning all over the damn place like they were raised in a barn. So being able to dodge attacks is part of the bargain. Pikachu dodges a Dragonite Hyper Beam by using his tail as a spring, hurling himself above the explosion. Do you have a tail? You do not! You can't hit him while he's in the air either. In the anime, he's shown dodging attacks and changing direction in midair. On the ground, he runs towards his enemy while avoiding incoming electric attack. And he's got 4 feet. Do you have 4 feet? You don't! For speed, he's so fast he can run along the surface of water. Yes, he runs up the water attack of Gyarados towards its face. For frame of reference, that would be like if one of us decided to run up a jet of 24 fire hoses taped together in order to punch a kaiju. No one else is going to be able to move that quickly or present such a tiny target to hit. Pikachu's strength is probably the least obvious thing about him. He's about the size of a gallon of milk and roughly the same shape. But he's a gallon of third-degree burns. His thunder attack can electrocute an entire Pokemon arena and shatter solid rock. His Thunderbolt move can blow up a helicopter and overpower a machine specifically designed by Professor Birch to absorb electricity. His Thunderbolt attack can also arc up to hit flying targets. Volt Tackle has been known to blow out the arena itself. Hopefully this venue is insured. Defensive moves include Iron Tail, which can dissipate incoming ranged attacks or slice through incoming objects. If need be, his tail can ground him against electric attacks, as it does when he fights Raichu. But there's one defensive move that he can pull off that I don't think everyone else can. He can absorb an attack and use them as a power-up. Yes, you hitting this precious golden marshmallow. It's like handing him a Mario superstar. He throws himself in the way of an electric attack from I don't know how to say this, Thunderous? Is that what that thing is? It's a biggin. In the way of a large electric Pokemon. Thunderous is what I'm going to call it. Okay, so it hits him and absorbs it for a boost to his Electro Ball attack that sees him partially destroy what I understood to be a notable archaeological site. Have you destroyed any heritage sites? I think not. In Solid as a Soul Rock, he throws himself into a lightning strike purposefully to power up. In another fight, he absorbs a zap cannon attack and then hugs the enemy that dealt it, shocking them to a KO. I mean, okay, it was more of a tackle than a hug, but I really want to imagine Pikachu hugging Raiden. If anyone hits him, it's going to be because he wants to be hit, and then the whole screen of your podcatcher will go white because he's going to blow up the podcast with his OP counterattack. Most importantly, he's the cutest. You've seen him. He's a small fur globe with ears and a tail. People don't want to hurt him. Brock stops a battle because he doesn't want to hurt Pikachu. The world of Pokemon has a weird level of acceptance for making pets engage in fight sports, but the other characters don't have that framework and will not be okay harming a small animal, no matter how fighty it is. Do you think Raiden will stomp on a small yellow puff? Storm will shock an overgrown hamster? Sailor Jupiter harm a child's pet? Unlikely. Even more unlikely is that they notice or care about Pikachu as a contender. He's the smallest, least visibly threatening, and the one most able to hide from attacks. The others will either fail to prioritize him as a threat, or they will actively avoid hurting him. Or more likely, you're gonna take one fucking look at those wobbly anime eyes and want to hold him in your arms, because no one has understood your sparky, shocky powers until now. Every time you tried to have a pet, it did not go so well. And now, maybe this time you can know what it's like to come home to a smiling little face. You'll reach out to pet him, your heart brimming with newfound hope. And then zap zap, you've been Pika-punked! He will be your friend after the match is over and he's won, though.
After what you've seen, you're pretty sure that mouse has what it takes to be the very best like no one ever was. But then again, Storm, she clearly slays all day.
So in this match, we have a schoolgirl, a mouse, a god who regularly gets his ass beat by the likes of Johnny Cage, and a character who's been an X-Man, an Avenger, and a member of the Fantastic Four, who once beat Wonder Woman in a straight fight, and is the one who got away for characters up to and including Black Panther, Doctor Doom, and Dracula. And we think this is a fair fight. Why exactly? So, on a basic level, yes, Storm is a character that can do things with electricity. That's what gets her in the door to this particular fight. And she is tremendously skilled with her lightning powers. She doesn't have to perform long, predictable anime-style attack sequences to pull them off either, regardless of what her grandiosity in the 90s animated series might lead you to believe. She doesn't even have to move in order to call down the lightning. There's a part in X-Men Worlds Apart number 4 when Cyclops, standing about 20 feet away from Storm, lets loose a full-force optic blast at her. Storm parries the optic blast with a lightning bolt from the sky without moving a muscle. She does this after the optic blast has left Cyclops' eyes. So, yeah, when it comes to flexibility, precision, speed, and power, Storm has no equal in this or any other match. But of course, there are things that Storm can do that the other characters here couldn't dream of doing. She can change the temperature or humidity of the area, create weather phenomena ranging from rain to hail to snow to sleet to mist to tornadoes to blizzards to hurricanes. She can flash freeze objects and enemies, use atmospheric pollutants to create acid rain, and create atmospheric pressure several times greater than that found on the gas giant Jupiter. She can gather hydrogen out of the air and then ignite it with electricity, essentially setting off invisible explosions at will. She can control ocean currents, solar winds, and the electromagnetic field of the planet. In Storm Volume 3, Issue 11, she manipulates the planet's magnetic field to open a fissure in the ground and summon a lava geyser. Storm's control over air not only allows her to fly, she can also throw enemies around like they were ragdolls. She can even manipulate the air in a person's lungs to suffocate them or mess with their inner ear to cause crippling pain and completely disorient them. In X-Men Worlds Apart, Storm manipulates the moisture in the air to bend light around her, effectively making her invisible. Her connection to the weather systems of the natural world are such that she can become aware of when they're being manipulated, down to sensing the blackbird flying through the air from thousands of miles away. In addition, her senses are so attuned that she can sense the bioelectricity of a person's nervous system, which will give her a clear warning of impending attacks, so good luck trying to pull off a surprise attack on her, even if you can teleport. But of course, Storm is more than just her incredible mutant abilities. For some reason, people in the X-Men comics keep thinking that if they can get Storm without her powers, they'll win, but those people are always proven wrong. Like when Storm, who has lost her powers entirely, challenges Cyclops for leadership of the X-Men and ends up kicking the shit out of him. Or when she ends up powerless when she goes on a mission to Hell in Amazing X-Men and takes on an army of demons using a mace. Or, perhaps the most iconic time, when she fights Callisto, a mutant whose power is superhuman skill in hand-to-hand combat. Not only did Callisto have home field advantage, and not only was that home field advantage underground during the height of Storm's struggles with claustrophobia, and not only were they fighting with Callisto's choice of weapons, but Storm was suffering from an intense fever and wasn't allowed to use her powers during this fight. Storm wins handily, just like she'll win today. As an active superhero in the Marvel Universe, Storm has to contend with beings of all power levels and power categories, from tangling with the grab bag of mutants that is the Brotherhood, to rising to the top of an underground mutant fighting ring, to taking on an army of supervillains in Secret Wars. There's a whole industry on Earth 616 devoted to creating giant killer robots specifically designed to get around her powers and abilities. Anytime she gets in a fight with a new opponent, she has to be ready for literally anything. You put her in a scenario where she's up against a handful of people who basically have only a small subset of her powers, but without her singular tactical and combat skills? Look, there's only one person actually worthy of being worshipped as a god here, and it's not Raiden. It's also neither Sailor Jupiter nor Pikachu.
I think it's Pikachu pretty clearly.
No, it's Storm, because she's great.
Yes, what a queen! She was worshipped as a god? Oh, but that Raiden guy actually is a god, which you're pretty sure means he's undebatably more powerful than any other character he's matched up against.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yep, that's how it works.
Alright, look, this is my third time defending one or more Mortal Kombat characters, so I don't think I really need to go into their general traits again, right? Strong enough to rip off limbs and turn you into a pile of bones with an uppercut, magically powerful enough to transform into animals and sometimes babies for no reason. I think we all remember these conversations. Mortal Kombat fighters are badass and awesome, and just in case you're gonna go all Dan on me and be like, I submit to you that everyone in the Mortal Kombat universe is just super weak, and that's why they can rip each other apart. Whatever, bro. I didn't want to pull this out last time, but Mortal Kombat versus the DC Universe is a thing, and they can all do their fatalities and brutalities to fucking Superman, okay? Mortal Kombat characters are fucking legit, merely by virtue of being Mortal Kombat characters. So, take a moment, just imagine a world largely composed of psychopathic martial artists who can kill you with their bare hands, and also have crazy magic powers. Cool. Now, imagine the dude those people worship. Raiden is generally considered to be one of the most powerful Mortal Kombat characters, and certainly the most powerful of the protagonists. Only Major League Series villains like Shao Kahn, Shinnok, and Onaga can even approach him. Sure, he gives up his immortality when fighting in tournaments like this one, but even then, Raiden, diluted, is still a better fighter than pretty much anyone in the game. He's a better hand-to-hand combatant than anyone in this match. Yes, Storm, no matter how many duels Madeline Pryor helped you win. He is by far the most experienced warrior in this match, and he has some pretty ridiculous lightning powers. He has access to both Shocking Grasp and Lightning Bolt, and doesn't lose spell slots when he casts them. Drink.
Pretty good.
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I think my drink might have turned in the month since we last made a D&D reference.
I stopped drinking since the last time we made a D&D reference, so... He has lightning versions of punches and uppercuts. He has a medium-ranged attack that knocks his opponents away from him with lightning and wind, and sometimes he just fires a lightning blast in the exact wrong direction, so it can somehow hit you from behind when you're not expecting it. Don't ask me how the physics work, he can just do it. On that note, he can also fly, teleport, spin around like a giant lightning drill wearing a Chinese harvester hat, and do a weird, long-range dab that trips his enemies and also electrocutes them. I don't know, dude. He's got lots of lightning powers. That's what I'm saying. His favorite way to kill people is to shock them until they explode. That is how the lightning god do. Oh, but who is he actually beaten in the canon storyline? I can hear you asking. Your feeble attempts at arguing against Raiden piercing my eardrums like tiny needles made of you being annoying. The longer the Mortal Kombat storyline goes on, the more obvious it is that Raiden is like the main character. At this point, any summary of Mortal Kombat as a story has to begin with something along the lines of, so way back in the day, Raiden defeated and imprisoned a fallen Elder God. No, he didn't ever win the Mortal Kombat tournament, but it wasn't really his job to win the Mortal Kombat tournament. His job was to find the human who could, and he did. Then he kept having to put Shinnok back in his place, and he did that too, becoming an Elder God in the process. Of course, later on, when he was about to be killed by a super powered up Shao Kahn, Raiden thought to himself, you know, this would all have gone a whole lot better if I had just won the damn Mortal Kombat tournament myself back in the day. So he did what any god would do in that situation, sent a message back in time to his past self, who then went on to win the Mortal Kombat tournament. So actually, in the new continuity, there's only ever been one winner of Mortal Kombat, and it's your boy. So don't come with the King Dick deity over here with your mutants, your magical girls, or whatever that is. Raiden commands lightning, meaning he commands your lightning. He's a better fighter, a better electrocutor, and a stone-cold killer who has flirted with the dark side way too often to take it easy on these 3 children's cartoon characters. He's devoted to protecting Earth, yes, but not any of your Earths, just his. That's the sort of perspective you get from being, like, omnipotent and shit, and knowing about the multiverse, kids. Oh well, you probably wouldn't understand anyway. It's kind of a god thing.
I just wanted entered into the record that Raiden was also in a children's cartoon in the 90s. You ever seen Champions of the Realm or Defenders of the Realm, whatever it was called?
No.
Because that shit was terrible.
I must have been too busy not playing Darkstalkers.
Oh, wow. Jeez, so soon.
Miles, I feel so bad for your childhood. You know?
I really don't.
I don't either. Apparently he missed that Mortal Kombat cartoon, so...
More like Ray, damn! You can't think of anyone who'd willingly stand up to these 3 masters of electrical might. Oh, except for that one schoolgirl, Sailor Jupiter, the teenager with green combat boots made for walking all over Yoma.
The first time that she met Makoto Kino, Usagi Tsukino, aka Sailor Moon, was running down the street, late for school, and bumped into 3 towering, roided-out macho men that looked like they came out of, let's just say, Mortal Kombat, for a totally random example. So these thugs start harassing Usagi. Makoto Kino steps into frame, and into our hearts, for the first time, and tells them to buzz off. And they decide to teach her a lesson, underestimating this teenage girl the way that everyone does. In 2 quick fluid motions, both of them are dispatched, and we never see either of them move, ever again. They're probably just unconscious, but who knows? Maybe they died of shame. Maybe that's why the third one ran away in terror. Later, still before she gets superpowers, Makoto defeats the Dark Kingdom General Zoisite in a one-on-one fight. And this isn't just a Monster of the Week. This is a recurring major bad guy with, like, magic powers and shit. Fans have noticed, by the way, that when Sailor Jupiter fights, a lot of her stances and moves are directly traced from footage of Bruce Lee movies. So she literally fights exactly as well as Bruce Lee. And then on top of all of this, she became a superhero. So, disclaimer, taking time to establish exactly what superpowers the Sailor Senshi have was apparently very low on the writer's priority list. It's like top priority, feelings, then cute outfits, naming our characters after puns, pun-based attacks, pun-based monsters, gratuitous upskirt shots, the soundtrack, then like 17 more items, and then way down at the bottom, what exactly can our main characters do?
Oh my god, I'm so relieved it wasn't just me.
I know.
I was doing research for this. I was like, well, can I just get a fucking list anywhere, please?
Yes. So their powers are a bit more pseudo-art than pseudo-science. But generally, the Sailor Scouts are conduits to great cosmic magical force that they can channel through their bodies in a variety of ways. They all have superhuman speed, strength, reflexes, leaping, endurance, all that stuff. They have control over an element or 2 associated with their patron astrological body. But also, the magic they channel in moments of great need can sometimes become more powerful and more flexible. Sometimes. Sometimes they can make force fields. Sometimes they'll use an attack and it won't work, and then they'll just use the same attack again, but believe harder and say, full power! And this time it works for some reason, because they didn't give up or whatever. There was one time in an episode where Sailor Jupiter was tied up by a monster, and she got mad and decided she didn't want to be tied up anymore, and her bonds glowed and then exploded. Yeah, it's kind of bullshit, I agree, but it's very much a thing. Also, they've had multiple upgrades to their powers in later seasons when newer, stronger bad guys have shown up. So she could later turn into Super Sailor Jupiter and then Eternal Sailor Jupiter. New outfit, stronger, more powers, but like, there aren't numbers here. They beat stronger monsters. I'm trying my best. I mean, I could get more scientific. I could mention that since Sailor Moon draws her power from the moon, and Sailor Jupiter draws her power from Jupiter, and since the mass of the moon is 7.35 times 10 to the 22nd kilograms, and the mass of Jupiter is 1.9 times 10 to the 27th kilograms, Sailor Jupiter is scientifically, canonically, 25,850 times as powerful as Sailor Moon, but I would never do that. That would be silly. Makoto's signature superpower, it probably goes without saying, is lightning. Supreme Thunder is an attack where a lightning rod grows out of her tiara, an actual lightning bolt strikes it, and then she redirects it at her target. But there are many others, including my favorite, Jupiter Thunder Dragon, where she summons an enormous dragon made of lightning that then promptly eats anyone who happens to be bothering her.
Aww.
Her lightning attacks are so powerful that at one point, after she uses one, Luna tells her not to do it again because the monster they're fighting is actually a human innocent who's been transformed, and a second attack will kill him. Sailor Moon then has to use her powers to heal him. As soon as Jupiter joins the party, they have to start inventing new reasons why Sailor Moon is still the main character. And in case any of y'all tried to rely on a resistance to lightning, Mako doesn't just have lightning powers, she also has plant powers. Because in Japanese, the kanji for trees is similar to the kanji for Jupiter. As previously mentioned, pun-based powers are a top priority. Her most powerful attack, Jupiter Oak Evolution, despite being nominally plant-themed, is actually like most of the high-level Sailor Moon attacks, just a different flavor of stupidly big energy blast. So it might be more accurate to say that Sailor Jupiter's strongest attack is a barrage of exploding green energy orbs that maybe smells like grass for a second before it kills you. First comes the lightning, then comes the punder.
Yeah.
One last great thing about Sailor Jupiter, she has really strong willpower and endurance to like an obscene degree. This is probably going to be a long fight, so I think endurance is going to matter a lot. In episode 49, after one of Mako's friends was injured by a monster and was bleeding out, she volunteered to give a blood transfusion because, like Mad Max, she has type O blood. She's a universal donor. The next day, the monster strikes again, and Sailor Jupiter, despite feeling weak from blood loss, decides to join the fight. Sailor Moon tells her not to fight or else she'll die. We both know I'm not as tough as you, but I promise I will do my best to fight that monster, she says. She then goes on to say, even though you are scientifically, canonically 25,850 times more powerful than me. Sailor Jupiter doesn't listen to her, and she joins the team for the fight. Then the entire team gets wiped out by a big attack from the monster. The scouts all lie on the ground motionless. And then Sailor Jupiter is the only one to stand back up, and she kills the monster with a single blast of Supreme Thunder. So, in another show, the lesson might be something like Sailor Jupiter should not try to overexert herself, or she should trust in the rest of the team. But no, the lesson of this episode, I guess, ended up being with or without her powers, with or without her friends, with or without her blood. Don't tell Sailor Jupiter she can't do something. Also, I don't really have like a good ending here, but she bakes cakes, and she's an ice skater, and she has a cute girlfriend named Ami Mizuno, who is Sailor Mercury. That is all. She's great. I love her. The end.
Yay!
Wow, she really put the sparkling white pressure on her opponents.
Oh, yeah.
Rebuttals. Pikachu, you impressed me. Go for it.
Don't I get in the middle and then everyone attacks me?
Yes.
All right, I'm now in the middle.
Oh no, this poor little mouse.
Strong mouse, power mouse.
I totally don't buy Pikachu as hiding during this fight, like what you were saying, and like not making himself out to be a big target, because he's always so aggro and so on the front lines of things. Like, he's not, stay back and be cautious and evaluate stuff and then formulate a good plan. He just like charges forward and makes very direct attacks. Like, he's gonna make himself a target regardless of how big he actually is.
You know what? I think you're right. I think he will absolutely try. I think the problem is that there's 3 full-sized humans throwing lightning and shit everywhere. I think Pikachu could do his damnedest to try and be aggro, and it would still not be enough to get the attention of the fight that he's craving. I just don't think people are going to notice him. It's going to make him very upset. You guys are going to have to apologize to him later.
I don't know much about Pokemon, and I didn't learn very much about Pokemon in preparation for this. But I did go and look at the type of Pokemon that Pikachu is.
Okay.
Which is an electric type.
There you go.
And then I went down and looked at the list where it says what they're strong and weak against.
Yep.
It said they're weak against electric. So
what? I mean, but can also absorb it, so you know.
That may be a disadvantage. I'm not sure. I don't really know what it means.
I don't think electrics are weak against electrics. You might have misread that chart.
Look, dude, it's on the internet.
No,
how could it be wrong?
Because mostly they're weak against ground, but I will say that he can absorb electricity. So I mean, even if he gets a little zap, it's also going to make him more powerful.
If that's simply not true, I have another point.
Okay.
So you mentioned that people wouldn't be like willing to hurt him. Raiden's a cold-hearted bastard who is a proven murderer on multiple occasions, and he also knows that things that look like animals aren't to be trusted because he's fought enough people with animalities in the past. So don't think that's going to be a problem.
But I bet in his heart he's just lonely. Like, I bet he just really wants a friend. And I mean, that's what the song is about. Like, you're my very best friend and some other stuff. So I feel good about it.
Yeah, I think I understood what you got confused about, Miles. It's not that electricity takes more damage from electricity, it's just that it takes half damage.
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
I have something to say. It's about Pokemon type. I think I understand it better than some people. And Makoto also has what would be in Pokemon probably grass powers, and grass beats electricity. So there's that.
He lives in the outdoors. He's probably been exposed to a lot of grass. I don't know. Maybe he's built up an immunity to it. Like, he doesn't have that allergy anymore.
We all know X marks the spot. Everyone gang up on Storm, but oh god, she's so great though.
Okay, so Storm taught at that school. No, sorry, this is going somewhere. Storm taught at that school, and you know there's children there, and Pikachu might as well be a child. He's got that baby face. She's gonna look into it. Don't want to kill him. How could she?
Bob, you're so convincing right now.
No, it's so true. She'll look at those little red electric sacks on his face and go, "Aw, you just need like a juice box and a nap." And then he's gonna zap her.
All right, you're going to have to forgive me, Bob, because I missed some of the specifics of your rebuttal at the beginning.
Sorry.
If I understand you correctly, you are implying that because Storm is a teacher, she will be less willing to attack the adorably childlike Pikachu. Is that essentially what you're saying?
Because she wouldn't attack a student, you know?
Okay, so if you know anything about X-Men, like... The students at the academy, whether it's named after Charles Xavier or Jean Grey or anyone, those students are really, really dangerous and often giant assholes. Like you have like Quentin Quire, who's like one of the most powerful psychics on the planet, who's going to grow up to be the Phoenix and frequently wear shirts that say Magneto was right. Like you have Glob Herman and Rockslide and the Stepford Cuckoos. You know, like teachers telling stories about how they're worried that like students might be carrying guns when they go to school. She knows for a fact that every student at her school is a loaded gun. And she knows exactly how to deal with threats regardless of how cute they look.
The setup for this match was painfully unclear in terms of what the actual like setting for this is like. But I'm gonna guess that no matter what it is, Raiden, like all good Mortal Kombat characters, can break through the walls on the floor and like change the setting and use environmental attacks and like do all the shit that he is fucking trained to do because he is a Mortal Kombat character. Thing about Storm, besides the fact that you could just like teleport up to her and choke her, is that she is claustrophobic. So if somebody potentially who were theoretically like well trained in using the environment against somebody were to find out about that, that could be bad news for her.
So first of all, Miles, I just want to commend you on the balls it takes to say, my character is better than Storm at using the environment of the area against them in a fight. Bravo, sir.
Thank you.
That is top-notch bullshittery. I want to tell you a little story, though, about a time that a guy by the name of Dr. Doom thought that he, too, could use Storm's claustrophobia as a means of disabling her. And all he ended up doing was pissing her off The result of which was that there was a storm over Latveria, which could be seen from Southeast Asia. Like, that's what happens when you try to use claustrophobia against storm. I have a quote here. Am I not beautiful, Lord Doom? And terrible? Do you not fear me? You should.
Okay.
You shall.
Yes, Queen!
Dude, how many other examples are there of her being completely incapacitated by claustrophobia? Don't give me that shit. There's like a million of them.
Storm's degree of invulnerability towards most things is not superhuman. Like if she gets punched or something, she will still go down, doesn't have superhuman endurance. And her ability to resist lightning is a little inconsistent. Generally, she's immune to it, but she isn't always. For instance, in Amazing X-Men Volume 3, the Once and Future Juggernaut, she fights a guy named Maruda, who's an Inhuman who also has magic. His lightning powers wreck Storm's shit, and my theory might be because he has magic. She might not have immunity to, like, someone that had, say, magic lightning, for instance. She might think that she does, and then it ends up wrecking her.
That may very well be true, but also your lightning comes from this weird, like, thunder rod that you have sticking up out of your tiara. As soon as Storm realizes that's where your powers are coming from, all it's going to take is a gust of wind and you suddenly can't use lightning anymore.
I'm pretty sure Storm gets her powers from Raiden, so...
First of all, that tiara is being held in place with the finest of magical spirit gum.
Round 2.
Miles, I just want to set the record straight on something that you said.
Yeah, what's up?
You were talking about how every Mortal Kombat character can apparently tear Superman apart. There is an entire plot element in Mortal Kombat vs. DC where there's like this weird energy source thing that's infused all the fighters and put them on the same power level. There's actually an entire B-plot where the Joker and Lex Luthor suddenly realize that now they can actually fight Superman hand to hand under these conditions. So the writers had to bend over backwards and introduce this gigantic plot contrivance just so that Raiden and his friends could be on the same level as the Justice League.
I don't really see how that changes anything. I mean, the Mortal Kombat characters are still fucking badasses who can, like, tear people apart. And just because they had to write a plot contrivance to, like, bring the Justice League up to fucking Mortal Kombat characters level, like, it's not my fault they did that. You don't know where the balance came from.
Yeah,
So
like
good.
a skilled martial artist, you reversed the momentum on that one, Miles. That was,
Thank you.
Yeah,
That was some judo
You
shit.
used your enemy's strength against him. Oh, so good.
Why am I punching myself?
I don't know. I've been asking you that for the last, like, 10 seconds.
All the fights in Mortal Kombat are one-on-one, and a lot of the techniques that you do are all about that. This is a big fight with a lot of different people. It requires a different skill set. It's something he's not going to be as practiced in.
The fights in the game are all one-on-one. I will give you that. In the actual story canon, he gets into plenty of fights involving multiple people, including when he's fighting Shang Tsung and Quan Chi at the same time, and then they all have to figure out what to do now that Onaga just showed up. They're all in a big four-way battle, so definitely has experience with that.
To Raiden, I say, this is less of a rebuttal, more of a foreshadowing. Use your powerful godlike lightning powers on Pikachu. He absorbs them. You have created a Pika god. No, I just want you to be afraid of that. A small god.
I figure with Pikachu, the best way to do it would be to do the uppercut into a pile of bones thing.
No, a tiny yellow god.
Just wanted y'all to know, if you translate the kanji for Jupiter literally, it does just mean tree planet. And
Yeah, I
I
saw
don't know
that.
where that came from. I don't know if they looked through a telescope and were like, oh yeah, it's a bunch of little trees down there, for sure.
Yeah, I know what that one's all about. It's trees.
Maybe they thought it was like Kashyyyk or something.
Maybe.
This is more of a question. Has Jupiter fought another lightning user before?
I don't know. I watched a lot of... Oh, wait. Yeah. There's the one with the chick with the drums. God, what was that episode?
Well.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, like, I am in the same boat as you going, that
hold on
sounds like a
sec.
thing that could have happened.
There was a drum that gets brought to life. It was one of the ones you have in, like, that you wear over your shoulders that you hit with the little things on either side that you like in a parade that you're marching with.
What? Okay, well.
Oh, I found her. Hold on a sec.
Oh, no. Yeah,
My
tell me her
God.
name, please.
Fioraiki?
Tapping into the Yoma database.
The
Counselor, you must depose your witnesses before you present them to the court.
Yeah, she was a droid sent by Pets in Sailor Moon R.
What kind of pets?
Pets is the name of the character.
Oh.
Just by Pets.
I don't remember whether or not Sailor Jupiter ever got hit by one of her lightning attacks and whether or not she was immune, but I do know that the Sailor Scouts did kill her very definitively.
All of Sailor Jupiter's attacks suffer from some pretty intensive, anime attack syndrome where they all take a long time to execute and involve her deliberately announcing what she's about to do. And then there's some very involved animation sequences. I was watching a bunch of her attack animations and the shortest one I could find took 9 seconds to pull off. And that was not even her strongest move. You know how long it would take Storm to suck the air out of a person's lungs? It's a lot less than 9 seconds.
If we are to take those literally, that every time they do the attack, they do it in the exact same way, down to every last micro movement, and it is literally what's happening, then clearly there's some sort of weird hypnosis magic happening where it's just so captivating that people around it sort of lose track of time. Or maybe there's some time dilation going on where there's a localized area of time that moves at a different speed. If it was not the case, people would be interrupting these attacks all the time, but they're not doing it all the time. So something's happening. I don't know what it is, but something's happening.
It might be the obvious thing to point out, but it hasn't really come up. Sailor Jupiter is 14, and I know that she's really strong and awesome and great and stuff, but I think it's important to point out the fact that, going into a match like this, youth and inexperience is probably going to be a bigger hindrance than a benefit.
You're right. She'll probably be stronger when she gets older, but when you transform into your sailor outfit version of yourself, you're channeling the version of you from a past life, kind of like the Avatar state, because there's a reincarnation thing in Sailor Moon. So I assume that you get better at doing a lot of things because you're channeling you at your peak in your previous life in the Silver Millennium from 1,000 years ago. Again, I don't know. This is speculation. There aren't rules exactly. They don't say how it works. This is inference, but I think it is an educated
Why
guess.
doesn't she have parents, Claire? Tell me.
It depends.
She's 14.
In the manga, they died. In the anime, ? She makes reference to them maybe being alive at one point, but we never see them.
How does she pay rent?
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Miles Schneiderman is at the head of demanding a new Sailor Moon reboot in which they get way more into the backstories of every single character.
I'm here for this.
I think whether or not any of these people have parents is even below how their powers work, though, if we're going on the list of priorities.
Your memories are interrupted by the Thunderdome beginning to reform itself around you. Metal walls grow out of the metal floor, and you're now staring at the inside of a cell. Whirling around, you see your opponents are in here with you and are beginning to wake up. Just in time, too, because a loudspeaker blares the unpleasant voice of the electric elemental. I knew you heroes wouldn't kill each other. All the better since I've been absorbing the electricity you've been discharging this whole time. Since I'm probably not going to get any more willing participation from you, just sit tight and wait your turn. A light farther into the room on the other side of the bars turns on, and a device that looks an awful lot like an electric chair is illuminated. You're all going to be riding the lightning round very soon.
No!
Oh.
Get it?
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
trying
you
to
don't
remember
get
that riff, and now it's just not coming to me. What is the lightning riff, Dan?
Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Storm chimes in. That would be Zax. Lucky for us, he's an idiot and has probably already forgotten we have skills beyond electricity. If we work together, we can escape this prison. Although you, David Capune, are clearly the most powerful electricity user here, you're not sure you have the skills for breaking out of a high-security prison. Thankfully, you've got help. How will Storm, Sailor Jupiter, Raiden, and Pikachu use their non-electricity-based skills to get you out of the cell? How will they protect you from the security bots that are immune to electricity? How will they disable the cameras or otherwise help you get out unseen? But perhaps most importantly, how are you going to get your revenge on and stop the rampage of the Reality Stone holding prison warden Zax? Unsurprisingly, the first to act is Sailor Jupiter.
In order to get David Capune out of this cell, Sailor Jupiter is going to use her greatest power of all, and that is her height. For those of you who don't know, it's commented on a lot that Sailor Jupiter is much taller than all the other Sailor Scouts. Like, she just towers over them. She is a massive, imposing 5'6".
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
And of course, Zax, when he designed this prison, he didn't think there would ever be somebody who'd come who'd be that tall. 5'6"? I mean, come on. There's a very high shelf, actually, above the cell where there's a backup key, and he just put it up there. He's like, no one can look up there. And she can reach up with her massive height and pull it off and to get him out. And then they're all sneaking through the hallways, and they see there's a bunch of security bots up ahead. They need some sort of distraction to get rid of them. And they have, of course, a very brilliant and very straightforward distraction that they come up with. They can't use their lightning powers, but Storm uses her ice powers to freeze the ground. And then Raiden has some extra blades on him because he's a Mortal Kombat character, which he hands to her. And then using, I guess, rope made from Pikachu's fur, they tied the blades to her feet, and she starts ice skating across the ground, which is another one of her great talents. She's a very good ice skater. She takes the security bots on a merry chase around the halls, and while she's distracting them, the rest of the people can escape. She ends up actually like kind of separated from the rest of them after that, and she finds that the prison actually has a kitchen that the robots use to like make food for all the people they have there, but it's really bad food because they're robots, they don't know what they're doing. She starts messing around with it though and starts making a lot of like way better stuff than anything that the bots could make. She starts like making a cake and stuff, and it's really great. There's a bunch of like fumes coming out. On the other side of the prison, everybody else is fighting Zax, and you know, they're like, we can't beat him, he's too powerful. And then they suddenly smell this like really good smell, and everybody stops fighting, and they're like, we gotta go see what that smell is. So Zax and everybody, they go over there to scope out the smell. Then they all start having the cake that she finishes. And like, you know, Zax's small heart grows 3 sizes that day. And he doesn't really want to fight him anymore. And then when his back is turned, she gets him in a chokehold. Gets him to tap out.
Way to use your diverse skill set,
Yeah.
Sailor Jupiter. Raiden looks incredibly offended at all this prison nonsense, and like he's 2 seconds away from punching someone's body into a pile of bones.
Whatever the strange properties of the cell are, they must be like infused with some kind of like reality stone type shit. I don't know what's going on here. In this environment, Raiden has reverted to Christopher Lambert Raiden. Which means in this case that he's going to escape the cell fairly easily by turning into a terrible 90s special effect and like going under the door, you know, just like turn into a lightning thing and like slipping into the door like he does all the time in that movie. And then he'll break open the cell from the outside easily using lightning lockpicking. In terms of how he will protect everybody, I mean, he is a deity. He is still divine, and protecting the people from the realm of Earth is kind of his deal. So he's gonna like do the lightning flying thing again, but like as he goes down, there's gonna be a little piece of lightning that just shoots right inside each one of the robots, and they all just like short out and stop working. No alarms going off or anything. Nothing to see here, you know. Same thing with the cameras, just a harmless flying lightning thing before they all go dead. And then it's off to the final confrontation with Zaz. Raiden, Christopher Lambert, steps into the chamber where Zaz is, and Zaz turns to him and starts blustering and monologuing and telling him about all the things he's going to do to him and all the pain he's about to endure and all the ways in which Zaz will win. And Raiden's eyes just like flicker with lightning a little bit, and he's just like, I don't think so.
Oh god!
And then it's just like dun 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 dun, and then like the fucking scene goes black, but you know that guy's just like fucked. Like we don't even need to show it on screen. Like that alone was enough to be. Oh, he's done. That's how the movie ends.
Oh, that song is fire. Oh damn! Storm's eyes are glowing white, and she's summoned wind to make her cape and hair look as dope as possible. Shit's serious now.
Storm realizes that she has any number of ways of getting out of this cell. She can summon a tornado, she can flood the place, she can like freeze the door and then shatter it. But people just don't get it. You know, like, you would think that after she beat Callisto without using any powers, and Cyclops without using any powers, and about 1 million demons in hell without using any powers, that people would get that, like, just taking away her powers isn't going to beat her. But no, Zax made the same mistake that everyone else did. So Storm has decided she's going to make an example out of this guy. So she instead draws upon her skill set from back when she was living in Cairo as the greatest thief and pickpocket in the city. She picks the door to their cell and sneaks out in the shadows. The other lightning characters are following behind her, sort of perplexed, and they keep finding bits of security bots everywhere across their path because I've decided that the robots in this prison are the machina from Final Fantasy X, where if you use the steal action on them, they immediately come apart. She is always 5 steps ahead of the lightning characters in the shadows the whole time. They eventually emerge out into the prison yard where Zax is waiting for them, furious that they've managed to escape. And he turns on them and says, "You may have escaped the prison, but you can't escape the power of the reality stone." And he holds up an empty hand. And then he turns around and Storm is behind him holding the reality stone, which she picked off of him. And then she banishes him to a dimension where everything is made out of rubber.
That's cold-blooded.
I forgot that we were supposed to get out of there without using lightning powers, huh?
Yes.
All right, cool. Raiden's just going to teleport.
Reboot. There we go.
That's fair. That's legit. Pikachu. He chooses himself.
Pikachu, I mean, his main identity is being a lightning creature. Second main identity is being a pet. So, in the way the pets solve problems, pretty weirdly, he has some spare Pokeballs on him. All right.
What?
We can probably transport some people in those. He takes a Pikachu-ish look at Sailor Jupiter. Is like, could probably stuff that hair under a hat. He's sort of like, I mean, Ash isn't around here, but that will be okay. Grabs the hat off of Raiden's head, gnaws part of it off and turns it into a sort of terrible baseball cap. Puts that on Sailor Jupiter. Is like, all right, this is as good as it's going to get. Sailor Jupiter, not impressed. Raiden, very angry. And then he like shoves the ball at Raiden's knee and is like, Raiden and Storm are like, what the hell are you doing? And then he's like, he opens the ball and then he points into it. After several charts, they understand, all right, we're all going to get in these balls.
Pikachu is the cheat.
Yeah, I know. That's the best I could do. And we're all going to get these balls. And then this, Sailor Ash is going to sort of transport us out. They get in the balls. Storm's has a little white lightning bolt on it. And then Raiden's has a lightning bolt with a skull on it. And Pikachu just has the regular one. Now it's just Sailor Jupiter, Ash, alone in that cell and just says, "Hey, guards, it's just me. A random kid with no adult supervision wandering around in this world for some reason. That's not suspicious or strange." And so they're like, you know what? You're right. That is normal. We should let this kid out. And so they do, because that's how things work in the world of Pokemon for some goddamn reason. Now, Sailor Ash is wandering around, sort of trying to covertly look for Zax, but in the way that Ash does things and, really trying to embody that try-hard thing of failing forward and just opening random doors and being like, oh, that's fine. And then finally opens the correct door and then throws all the Pokeballs right at Zax and says, "I choose you, Storm, Raiden, and Pikachu." And they all fly out of the balls. But this time, because, Pikachu can't use his lightning powers this time, he pops out with those stupid little boxing gloves from that one episode where Ash put him in boxing gloves for some reason. And then he just fucking punches the shit out of Zax with those. And then Raiden obviously kills him to try and make Pikachu feel like he did a good job of punching him.
Clearly.
And then they all have ice cream sundaes and it's great.
Oh, it's so pure until Raiden murdered that guy.
Well, but he did it to make his friend feel better because they're friends now. Pikachu sits on his shoulder
pure.
like a dangerous parrot.
Oh, God, I love it. Well, you think it's safe to say that was all stunning work from those 4 masters of the Zippity Zap. But who, at the end of the day, was MVP? I'm going to figure that out.
I feel like I should say Zax a bunch of times because I think I said Zaz the whole time when I was talking about him.
You said Zaz, but I was into it, so I didn't care.
Zax.
I only heard of this
like
character.
you gave him a little extra, a little extra zip.
Yeah, I only heard this character like 5 minutes ago, so I didn't feel like I was in a position to say anything because maybe I was wrong. So
yeah, I agree.
After a minute, I was like, "Wait a minute, that's not a henchman in Gotham City."
Yeah, the tattoo guy. That was,
yeah, that guy.
Boy, there's an amalgam character, Victor Zax.
Victor Zax. Yeah,
I'm not ready for this. I don't want that world.
So, Bob, how did you enjoy Pokemon?
Oh my god.
I mean, check her fucking Twitter, dude.
I know. It's so cute. It's very of its time, but it's also, I don't know, it's very charming. I can see why people are into it. I want to feel that way about Sailor Moon, and there are things about it that I like, but I think the animation style, I don't enjoy as much, or it doesn't seem as easy to digest as the Pokemon one. I don't know, but I like the music for the Sailor Moon one a lot.
The soundtrack is undeniably awesome. Sailor Moon is it's a little hit and miss. It's a beautiful mess. We love it despite itself, but it's
like the place in my life that I'm at right now. That show actually sounds way more interesting than Mortal Kombat, which is not something that I would have said at any other point previous to this.
You know,
there's a fair amount of overlap between Sailor Moon and Steven Universe, I would say.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
very directly.
I was researching fucking Raiden again, and the only thing I kept thinking of was like, man, I want it to be Storm. Like, I just fucking Mortal Kombat is so dark and stupid. I don't like it.
I love how dark and stupid Mortal Kombat is. It delights me to no end when I read about like the Nether Realm and Outworld and all that stuff. Oh, I love it. I eat that stuff up.
When the knobs are in the right place on like the Mortal Kombat board and they're not like taking it too seriously and it's like very fun and awesome and dumb, it's very fun and awesome and dumb. But like sometimes it's like, all right, get over yourself, Mortal Kombat.
I just like you know, like how you were talking about the people who make Sailor Moon were like actually defining their powers was super low on the list of shit.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like Mortal Kombat, every time they make a new one, making, like, really gross, like, fatalities goes up on the list. And, like, any semblance of a story goes down.
I think they believe that their brand is over-the-top violence, and that's why people like Mortal Kombat. And they're not thinking about the other aspects of it, and they're just, like, prioritizing improving that, by which I mean going harder on that and topping themselves in that one respect, while not paying attention to other aspects of things that make it good or that things people like about it.
You know what I do like, though? I like X-Men, and I like Storm, and she's the best, and trying to come up with reasons why she wouldn't win this match was really hard, and I hate you for taking her from me, Dan.
Aww.
Well, you got the Marvel character on the last go-round, so, you know.
Also, comics are dumb. That is all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know that much about any of your characters, so I feel very confident about Pikachu's chances. Like, just outrageously confident about this. So, Kit, you've come back to say that I won, right?
Let's see what the judge has to say about that.
I have come back to say that you all put up incredible fights, including some of you that I was like, I can't wait to see this argument. I think we all kind of sensed it when we were making our arguments in this by talking about how stupid comics are, but I am gonna have to give it to Storm because
that's the right answer.
Fucking Marvel Comics makes the Mortal Kombat universe look sane.
That's fair.
It's pretty stupid and OP in there.
I had a feeling I had the best character, but I also knew I had to work my ass off because I was up against the three of you, and you did not disappoint at all. I am overjoyed to have actually beaten you guys on this.
I was like, you don't have the invulnerability. I have magic lightning. Maybe we can make this work. Like, but I can't be too mad about this one. It's friggin' Storm. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, Storm's great, and I'm just glad that she won this match so that I can pick her first overall in the Smash Bash.
That is true. That is true.
Time for Zap Thanks. We got to hang out with Vander, Eugene, Jeff, and Joe at PodCon. Thank you guys for coming to hang out with us. That was a lot of fun.
And Jared Anderson.
And we play board games.
Oh yeah, Jared Anderson from the Crypto Naturalist as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, I hope you're listening.
Yeah, so this was when all six of us, plus Neil, took a trip to Seattle for PodCon back in mid-January. It was really fun. The con was a ton of fun. We got to meet a bunch of fans. And also the first time that all six of us had been in the same place at the same time.
Yes.
It was good times all around.
Yeah, Liz and Bob know each other are real.
Yeah, and we both like food, and it was great.
Liz and Neil and I went and got drunk and watched football on Sunday. It was awesome.
You did.
Oh, right.
Except for the Patriots winning. That sucked.
To all of you on Twitter who are so fantastic about retweeting our shit. We're just talking about us. Thank you to Earth Mofo, Decade Fan, Robert Ramsey, Sid Rabbit, Jaded John, Cosplay Devotee, Cosplay Fiend, Jeff Rick Present, Florian, Sharon Holden, Forte Body, Fake Jake, Changing Shades, Vander Turner, the Pop Culture Failure Podcast, Viola Sanderlin, Sean Boyd, Andrew Young, Alexander Shaw, One Conditionally, and Dangle. Oh god, I made it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You almost need to start a sub-podcast just for the thanks.
All right. Tumbles, Not Very Bright Raven, Ultra Anonymous Angel, Secretly a Skeleton, Sid Rabbit Blog, and Changing Shades. Thank you. And on Facebook, thank you to Jeff Polier, Adam Mayo, Robert Ramsey, Matias Tatimez, David Waters, Bradley Austin Null, and Jeffrey Ketchum.
Storm may be the official winner of this match, but we all know which electricity-themed character really won. And that, of course, is our patron, David Capito.
Yeah. Good for you.
Granted electricity powers involving a weird accident with a radioactive Patreon. I'm not real sure. It was a weird comic. It was a weird time. But he has electricity powers because he supported us on Patreon. And you can too. And get a bunch of other cool stuff to go along with it.
And just a reminder to join the fan faction if you have not already.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining me on this weird second-person narrative adventure. Next week, a special Valentine's surprise party. Yeah, you thought it was going to be shipwrecked. A surprise party. Get ready.
It's real weird, guys. It's real weird.
It's very strange, and I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Smash Fiction is produced by Miles Schneiderman and production assistant Sharon Schneiderman, with logo design by Claire Mulcairn.
Special thanks to Kevin McLeod of the Clan McLeod at Incompetech.com for our theme song, Hitman.
You can find us on Twitter at SmashFic Podcast and search for the Smash Fiction Podcast on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Smash Fiction is made possible thanks to our supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/smashfictionpodcast. Please consider donating as little as $1 each month. It helps us keep the show going, and we have great rewards and extra content for those who help us out.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
What is a memory harp?
Oh, do you know the sound effect that I mean when I say that?
No, I have
Just
no
like
idea.
Like the.
Well, yeah, when
Oh,
someone
like
has
the
like a
flashback sound. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like a
flashback
harp
sound.
glissando.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Ooh.
It's a what?
It's a harp glissando.
What is
This
a
the term for
glissando?
it. Like if you put your finger down on a piano key and then just like move it up the keys.
It's like
that's a
what
glissando.
children love to do.
That's
on
a
the
glissando.
piano.
You're making that up.
Harp Glissando's my favorite old jazz musician.
It's my favorite Pokemon.
He was my favorite comedian, along with his brothers Groucho Glissando and Chico Glissando.
There you go. Miles wins.
I don't want to beat around the electric.
Tell us.
Do androids beat around electric bushes? Sorry.
There's a sex joke in there. So.
There absolutely is, like, just below the surface.
Guys, are they gonna be like a family of choice now?
I think they are.
Yay!
I think that's where this was going.
The dad, the mom, the daughter, and the pet. Yeah,
Yeah.
that all makes sense.
Yeah. Sure.
Aw, this is the best ending.
Although, honestly,
We all know
like,
Storm wears the pants.
Storm
That's true.
Storm has rejected better men than Raiden.
I mean, yes. How old is Raiden now?
I mean,
Like a
how old is
million?
God?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
a few million years old.
Is he
Probably.
still like, I mean, I know he's still ripped, but is
Oh, he
he
can
like...
still go, baby.
No,
That's-
I'm
you're
not
damn right.
questioning whether or not he fucks. I'm sure he does.
Okay.
No, I'm just like, is his face all old and rankly, or is it like
Oh.
all face shaped?
No, it's all old and wrinkly.
He just looks like 90s era Christopher Lambert.
I was
as far
like,
as
I
I'm
can't
concerned.
look at him without seeing Christopher Lambert. So it's like,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
looks like-
impossible